Alright, so this is information about 5-minute code 7b, referring it to as is positive. And what we're going to do for this particular lab is we're going to prompt the user for input. We're going to validate the input to ensure it consists of digits and that it is not emptied. We're going to display what the user has entered, the value, and we're going to check to see if it's positive. We're going to exit the loop when the input is basically validated and positive, and then we're going to basically provide feedback if it isn't. So if we look at the code requirements, so once again we're going to utilize a while true loop. We're going to capture the input of the user, prompt the user for input. We're going to then utilize a conditional statement of a if else to validate. We're going to basically acknowledge if it's basically a positive number or not, and make sure the appropriate output is basically displayed. And then if it is true, all right, utilize the break statement to exit a loop if the valid input is provided. And if we look at the problem, all right, that means that we have a while true, prompt the user for a positive number. If it's greater than 0, then print that you have entered blah blah blah, whatever, a comment there, and then it's going to break out of this. If the user hasn't, then it's going to print that we have an invalid number, and the information kind of breaks down in terms of what each individual component is doing. So here's how the program should work. So enter a positive integer. We're going to say -10. That's not a positive integer, so let's do -22. Not a positive integer. 0. Now 0 also falls into the not being positive, it's just 0. And let's say we do 10. You have entered 10, and then the code is complete. So when we go back to the guides over here for problem 1, all you're doing is just creating a simple loop here, and this is basically probably no more than 8 lines of code that you need to create for this particular 5-minute code. So again, I have your template set up here, and in this particular section right here, right, you're gonna write your code. And once again, you don't want to be messing around or doing anything down below here or here. I mean, I'm giving you specific instructions. I still have some people adding things where they don't need to. Again, I'm utilizing the concept of functions. So all our code that we've been doing and moving forward, you're going to have more and more of those particular functions being utilized. So once again, I have a header that's being started. Then we get the message. So if we come up here to scroll on top, here's our header, and then again this is the same thing as our previous code for 7a. So when the output gets displayed, everything is all centered based on 50 character spacing. And then once again, you're going to write your code down here, and you got to make sure everything is indented. So that's it for this particular program. Again, it's not going to be that difficult. It's going to be a couple lines of code, and that's it.